Let's see if everything is going well. I think it is. We're getting used to this whole streaming thing. All right. Good evening, folks. I'm Jonathan, and this is Coding Your Career, my channel where I, talk about all things coding. And I'm going to be live streaming myself today, coding an application. I'll talk a little bit more about it in a moment. But just double check to make sure everything is working as it should be. Still getting used to the whole StreamYard thing. Yeah, it looks like we're going pretty good. Sweet. All right. So if this is your first time here, okay, this is my I do this every Tuesday in the evening. Might switch it to Sunday, depends. But I am a senior software engineer. I've been at this for about 8 years now. And I used to be a history teacher, and now I'm a software engineer. And so I just wanted to do a project that was more complicated than just a normal CRUD application. A lot of what you see on YouTube or in tutorials or pretty much anywhere is basically CRUD applications, right? So just create, read, update, delete. And that's pretty simple, but when you get to your job, you're going to realize that actually, no, like most of what you do is actually can be quite complicated. Sometimes it's simple, but sometimes it's very complicated. And so, what does a more realistic application look like? What kinds of libraries does it use? What design patterns does it use? Testing. All right. So my goal here was to create something as close to an actual production grade app as I could. And I'm doing this by myself, which is interesting. It's a lot of work, as you can see, probably from the screen. You can see that I've got a lot of classes and stuff already set up, but it's been a good learning experience. I'm using some techniques I've used over the years. So some of the stuff I'm showing you is stuff that, years ago, back when Jonathan was a mid-level dev or junior dev, stuff that he had to learn how to do in order to do his job. So if we're going to kind of get into that. So just so we have some context, this project is an IT ticketing application. So you can imagine that there's this big multinational corporation and people have support tickets, not necessarily IT support tickets, but general support tickets, okay, in different areas. And when they put in this support ticket, they have to make sure it gets routed to the correct person to be the support person. And then we also have to deal with the fact that it's a company that has multiple departments in multiple countries with multiple like different escalation chains and things like that. So I thought that would be pretty good because I have worked at a multinational corporation and I do know how complicated these things get in real life. So hopefully I can do this some justice. If you like what you see here, please like and subscribe as always. Also, I opened up a Discord channel for developers who, are from different skill levels, right? So junior devs, mid-level devs, devs that have been around since the dinosaurs roamed the earth. Basically everybody's welcome. All right. If you love coding, if you want to learn how to become a better developer, if you want to understand development more, I think, even though there's all the AI out there right now, and I think the AI is really helping in a lot of respects, at least as for productivity. Although I think that there's some debate about that. I still think it's worth learning how to code. I really do actually still think it's worth learning how to program because you still have to learn how to think like what the AI is not doing so far. And again, that could change tomorrow. I have no idea. Is it's developers are still necessary because we understand the actual, how do I put it, the requirements. Like we can still reason through why it is, for example, that when someone, like, we create an app for safety, right? Let me give you a story. So I create an app that helped the person who was managing safety. They were able to go out on the line, someone got hurt, and they were able to fill out all the required forms through their phone and then submit their safety report officially through their phone. It was convenient. The only problem is that, like, they had low connectivity sometimes in some of these factories, because some of these factories are really off in the distance because it was cheap land. And so, like, how do I deal with that? Like, how do I deal with if, for example, the person didn't want to actually record everything down, and like little things, like human things like that where people don't use the software as intended. Like, for example, the person would just because the phone wasn't getting any signal, they would write everything down and put it in there later, or they would just write it down and just skip the whole process, and that would kind of ruin the reporting because they didn't go through the phone. And so things like that are things that I think humans are still very much applicable for. So I still do think it's good to learn to program. Plus, I think it makes you overall a cleaner thinker in a lot of ways. All right, enough about that. Let me kind of show you where I'm at right now. I did not work on this since the last stream. My boot camp students have graduated. Okay, they're off. They're flying off on their own. It's a beautiful thing. Let me kind of show you a little bit about what I've done so far. Again, there may be people who are new to this. Essentially, what I'm doing right now, the functionality I'm looking at right now, is ticket creation and making sure the ticket gets assigned to the proper person when it is first created. So I already have an API. So, oh, by the way, in case you're wondering, this is a .NET backend. So I'm doing C# and the framework is .NET. And then .NET 8 we're on right now. And then the front end, whenever I get to that, whenever the API is finally done, I'll do the front end in Angular. That's because my bootcamp students, that's what they did their final project in. So this is what I want to do my final project in. All right. So we've got the ticket, and I've got it to where you can create a ticket. So you create the ticket, and then once the ticket successfully created, it will raise a ticket creation event. So I'm using MediatR, which is a library that you can install with the NuGet package manager. And I'm actually like 50-50 on it now. Like when I first downloaded, installed, and started using it, I was like, hey, this is great, awesome. And then now I'm sort of like kind of okay with it. I'm like 50-50. I still am not entirely sure what, like, I know what it's giving me and I do like the feel of it, but at the same time, I'm starting to think to myself, did I make simple things more complicated by using this? All right, so for example, in MediatR, you have commands and queries and handlers. So everything is decoupled, right? Here is what I want to do. Here is the thing that handles what I want to do, instead of having that all be like one thing. And so here, like for example, I have the create ticket handler. It will say, okay, cool, like here's your ticket, here's your extra information, save it, and then it will publish an event. And so this event will go into MediatR. Okay, so as far as this handler is concerned, it has no idea what this event actually does in the rest of the application. It just says, cool, here's a create ticket event. Now, that at first blush sound really nice to me, but at the same time, if you're looking at this code like weeks later and you're looking at this like published ticket create event, like, okay, but like what does that mean? But like at the same time, like, how to put this, a lot of things could happen with respect to ticket creation. So, for example, being ticket being created could set off a whole slew of other things happening, which is fine, no problem. But you wouldn't know that by looking at this. So, like just looking at this one line of code, there's absolutely no way you would know what things like spark off from this ticket creation. And maybe you don't want to know. Like maybe it's like Jonathan, like, listen, there's like there could be 10 things, and for what I'm trying to do, I don't want to have all 10 things in my head, but there's always this nagging worry that maybe you should. So, but anyways, right, ticket creation happens, there's an event, and they have another handler, which is assign user to ticket handler, which is what I'm working on right now. And so what this does is when the ticket create event comes into being, it handles it. So it will receive the event, and this is responsible for assigning a support user to a ticket once it has been created. So as you can see, like the logic, the business logic is not all in one gigantic like pile. It isn't like, okay, cool, create the ticket, then take the ticket and assign the ticket to somebody and make sure, it's assigned to the right person, and then do the reporting and blah, blah, blah. It's just like each individual thing is broken up. I don't need MediatR for me to do that. I could do it myself, but it is kind of nice. But at the same time, because MediatR kind of like erases the business vocabulary from the code base. It just says publish and send, which is very like, it doesn't say what's actually happening. It just says like, cool, send this. Well, what does that mean in terms of what I'm programming? So I feel like when you're using MediatR, you yourself have to be pretty up on what it is that's going on, because it doesn't label anything in such a way as you could tell what it is from working with it. But I digress. You're not here for that. Well, maybe you are here for that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about tickets. I did make some changes. So what I did was I felt that the best way to deal with like how do I put this? So like when a ticket's first created, then you have to figure out, okay, who's going to get the ticket. Well, then how do you know that, right? Like how do you know who the ticket should be assigned to? Well, it's based on a certain role, right? So okay, cool. How do you do that? So I have this severity matrix. So basically it's like ticket priority and then the ticket severity. So the ticket priority says like how high or low the ticket priority is supposed to be. And then the severity is like how bad of the situation it is. Now, the reason that you separate like and by the way, you might think to yourself, isn't that redundant, Jonathan? There might be something severe, but you can't do much about it, right? So it doesn't take as high of a priority. So you'll notice I have different combinations, like low and minor, low and major. So like the majors, like the severity is pretty major, right? But we can't necessarily prioritize it as high as something else. And that happens in the real world. So I had different combinations of severity and priority, allowing people to more like fine grain basically how much hair on fire you should be based on this ticket having been created. And so it will give you some points. And then if it's not one of these combinations, it will throw in an exception in your face. Okay, which it should, because you did something you weren't supposed to do. So here we go, get value. So I made a dictionary. It will look up the combination. I use basically tuples. I do love tuples. They make my C# code uh well, maybe more complicated than it needs to be, but I do love tuples. So this is a tuple. So a combination of low priority, minor severity will give you 1 point. And then as you can see, the highest points you can get are critical priority and major severity. This will give you 6 points. And so essentially what happens is when a ticket comes in, I'll look at the point value of that ticket. And then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, cool. Let's say the point value is 5. Cool. Point value is 5. Then I have this thing called a ticket escalation rule, and it has a threshold. Okay. And so the threshold basically says, listen, um, this role, okay, this user role handles tickets of at minimum this severity. Okay. So if it's a level 5 severity, what I'll do is I'll go find all of the escalation rules, right, that have 5 or above and get the role. Because like some tickets, if they're really like pants on fire, like super like we have to get on it, you may like skip the lower level people and you may go up to a certain like person, right? So for example, if like I don't know, you're at a factory and like I don't know, the hot water steamer blew up or something like that, right? Like I don't know if someone will put a ticket in for that. I guess they would, but like if you do, that should go to the project, that should go to the like factory manager first, right? That should like skip all the people below and go like straight to this guy so he can like handle it. So that's kind of the idea here. So the what I'm doing is I'm trying to make certain my logic works. So I've got the ticket which will have all of the matrix, the point values for the different combinations. And then made it, I was doing some TDD. So for those who don't know, it's test driven development. So I haven't actually written any of the logic to handle this, but I did write a test first. And I like TDD. Some devs will say they like TDD and then they get to their job and they don't do it, which is up to people. I'm not here to judge. But I do like it, especially in situations where I'm not like I myself am not super up on what's going on. And like that's what like basically like I myself don't really feel necessarily that I know what I'm doing. And that's like I know it sounds weird. It's like, well, didn't you like look at the like, the requirements? Yeah, but like sometimes it takes a while for you to like really grok like what they want you to do. And since that's the case, like you may need the extra little push, right? To say like, okay, cool, dude, like I actually do understand like this is the rule, this is where it's supposed to be, and all that good stuff. So for this one, I said, okay, cool, we make a ticket. and then we check to make certain everything about the ticket. I probably should have more assertions here, but that's fine. I have a ticket creation event, and then I'm going to use the handler, and then have the handler take in the event, and then find the ticket after the handler is done. I then should assert that the ticket hasn't been like the properties of the ticket have not been changed due to the fact that it's been handled. So like the handler should not mutate the state of the ticket. It only should mutate the ticket users, right? So for example, like initially there should be no ticket users, meaning ticket user is this model, basically the person assigned to handle a ticket or the person who is viewing the ticket or related to the ticket in some way. So I have two roles, support and visibility so far. Maybe there'll be more in the future, but either you're working on the ticket or you are you're either working on the ticket or you are like you care about the ticket in some way. All right, where was I at? All right, cool. Let me go back here. All right, so cool. You do the thing. Okay, the ticket state has not been changed, but there is a ticket user. I take the ticket user and assume it's going to be Sansa Stark from Winterfell. So I did a little Game of Thrones theme. Here are my users. So John Doe, Jon Snow, and Sansa Stark. And Sansa is employee number 2. And so basically, like, according to the escalation rule, I think she should be, who is she? New role ID, yes. Okay, that should be her. This is what happens when you have really like tests with a large arrange step. It's you have to like go back and wrap your mind around like what did the database look like in the beginning. Okay, so Sansa Stark should be it. My test will fail, I'm pretty sure. Yep, horrible failure, which is fine. I haven't actually done the logic. All right, but I'm going over the logic again. So I make a ticket. The ticket has this information. It's low and minor. Okay, and low and minor means that therefore the points should be 1. Low and minor is a 1. Okay, so low and minor is a 1. Okay, did I do that right? So I have a rule, escalation chain. I don't have the threshold here. I don't have the threshold here. I missed that part. So it's probably okay. So I didn't do this the arrange step correctly. All right. Sansa Stark is employee 2. She has user role of noob role ID. I really shouldn't have named that like that. That really is a bad name. All right. So I should put Sansa Stark here just as a note. And then the threshold is equal to 1. Okay, because that's going to be important. All right, and then this person is next user role ID equals 0. This I guess this is the top. This is the new boss, who is Jon Snow. So this is Jon Snow. So if you don't have, actually, I should have the other way around, right? Because I think Sansa becomes queen or something at the end, so maybe she should be in the driver's seat. But he will take everything from 2 and above. Ooh, what if there are gaps? Oh, I just thought about that. What are the ticket escalation rules gaps? Well, we'll need to think about that. I'll talk about edge cases in a moment because there are actually a lot of edge cases to this. But let's do the happy case first while we're still sane. All right, so I did the threshold. It should be Sansa Stark. Let's go look at our logic. Okay, so I did a little bit of pseudocode, although I think I need to refine it a bit. All right, I first check to make sure that the ticket exists. I then calculate the ticket points based on severity matrix. I grab the escalation rules for the ticket type and the department and escalation threshold. Find a user with that role in the department. All right, so I have a couple edge cases I need to like think about in order to make this more robust. So if there are no escalation rules, throw an exception, because that's that's bad setup. Like I am assuming that because again this is a multinational corporation, I should assume certain things. I should assume that someone should go in and write escalation rules following my like I should give them a basically like someone from IT say go in and make escalation rules and like go ask the POs like who should handle different levels of tickets. And if it's not set up, that means either A, it was never set up, or B, someone screwed up the way they did it and they should go back and redo it. Okay, because like that's something that has to be set up in order for the system to work. So I think throwing an exception in someone's face here makes a lot of sense. So I need to make a custom exception. So I'm gonna put that down on my to-do list. Let's see. Let me make right on Notepad. Okay, so write custom exception for no escalation rule. Okay, I do write notes to myself. Like I really wanted this to be you see like how like some devs do things. I'm sure I do things differently than other devs. But I need to write notes to myself to remember all of this stuff. All right, so I throw an exception if there's no escalation rules. Find a user with that role in the department. What if I find no user? If I don't find a user, well, that's an interesting question. So we have an escalation rule, but no user at that place does that job. In which case, that also is a setup. That's a problem with. Well, no, because what if people quit? So if someone quits and leaves the company, then and if they're not replaced by someone, then the person who's responsible for the escalation rules for the company should go in and change the escalation rules. So I'll have to have a UI for that. I'm going to throw an exception here too, because that's a setup problem. I guess if the company's at the point where they don't have people to do certain things, they're probably circling the drain anyway. So that may just be in real life. They may just be packing it in. It's just the software wouldn't even matter to them anymore. But I think that should be where like someone should be in that spot. Okay, so what do we do next? All right, so I find a user, and then yeah, what if no one takes a ticket? We got that question. What if multiple people could take a ticket? So we assign the ticket to somebody, but hey, Jonathan, what happens if someone could? Oops. Okay, what if someone could like let's say that for example, we have a role that's assigned to handle tickets, this kind of ticket, but there's like two people in that role. Like who could we go in at that point? And so I'm thinking to myself, if the two people are tied, just randomly take one. Like who cares? But like probably you really want to take the person with the least amount of tickets. So if there are multiple people, assign the ticket to whoever has the least tickets. If there's a tie, randomize it. Okay, so if I want to assign it to somebody, but there's two people with the same ticket, then too bad, so sad. You will just have to like do a coin flip or whatever. Like, because honestly, if they all have the same amount of tickets, then it doesn't really matter. Okay, I think this is a plan. Okay, I think this is the plan. All right. By the way, if you're watching, like, if you have any like questions on what I'm doing, or like why is this guy on Visual Studio Code on Tuesday evening for no reason, like by all means, like shout out at me. Love to have a little conversation, like not just talking to the ether. Okay, but all right, I think that should deal with everybody. I'm pretty sure that should be okay. Okay, so since that's the case, let's start coding. All right, first I go and find the ticket that is in the ticket created event, because something may have happened to the ticket in between creation and like here, which shouldn't, but like you never know. So I go find the ticket. Cool. If the ticket's null, then something horrible happened. Because the ticket was created because creating a ticket is how we got here in the first place. All right, cool. Now I'm going to get an escalation rule, and I'm going to clean this up a bit, where X is active and X department equals, so that it needs the department and the threshold and the ticket type. So I need an active escalation rule that's for this department that is greater to or equal to the escalation of the ticket points and is the same type of ticket. So that person can handle this type of ticket. Okay. And I don't need all of them. I don't need a list of them. So what do I need? I need to, what if there's more than one? Because actually with the threshold, I may give me more than one row back. So I should get I'll do order by. And then I will do X dot threshold. So I'll order it by their threshold. So I'll get the lowest threshold first. So like, for example, if if there are 3 escalation rules above a threshold of 5, and it was like 5, 7, 8 or whatever, I'll order it so it's 5 at the top, 7, then 8, and then take the 5. Okay, from the top. And then cool. I'll then select. I just want the role ID, honestly. And then we'll do first or default. Async. All right. Active escalation rule. Department ID matches. It's at or over a threshold. It's for a specific ticket type. And then I take the lowest threshold, the rule with the lowest threshold out of the list, and I get the ID from it. So I think I'll change this to escalation rule ID because that's what it is. All right, cool. So now I've got the role of the person. If it's null, now I need to make that exception because, again, if there is no rule, I should throw that straight in their face. That's a setup issue. I need to make a custom one, which is not that bad. So custom exception. We'll call this, I don't know, escalation rule configuration error. Say that 10 times fast. All right, and then it inherits from the exception class. You know, the public escalation rule. Oh, it just does this for me. All right, base message. I think I can just take a message and that's fine. Do I want to though? I don't want them to just put anything in here. Let's do int ID. Can you do that? I think the constructor. No, I think it has to be a message. Because the base class is, let me see. Let's look at this exception class. Partial void, blah, 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 method implementation. Where is your constructor? I'm probably get maybe put the word public in front of it. Public. Oh, maybe it doesn't have one. Well, it did tell me to put a string in here, so I'm going to go with that. And then I think I don't have to do anything special. All right, so that's my exception. And then I'm going to throw a new escalation rule configuration error. Just got no idea what that is, so I have to import it. All right, and then we'll say escalation rules. Well, okay. For department with ID. Do I know the department ID? Notification dot department ID have not been set up correctly. Contact IT. Okay, what is this? Oh, because it's an integer, Jonathan, so it should be 0. All right, because forgot I selected the starting user role ID, so this is an integer, so it cannot be null. It must default as 0. All right, so I'll throw this exception that there's no escalation rule because basically there's something wrong. Which I guess that should be fine. Okay, so we've got the escalation rule. Now I need to find users with this role. So what do I do? So let me look at the user entity. I think I put roles in here if I'm not dumb. Yep, there we go. That's their role. All right, cool. So var user is equal to await appdb context users dot where. I need an active user. XI is active. And they're in the same department. Move this a bit over. There we go. Move this over so I can read this. All right, so let me think through this. They have to be in the same department. They're active. And what else? Their user role ID is equal to escalation rule ID. Okay, and then I can I still need to know ooh, this is rough. Okay. Because I still need to know. Let's get it going first, and I'll worry about making these queries more efficient. But basically what I'm thinking is now I know what role it is. I can get all users in that department with that role, but then I need another query to see what tickets do they currently have, and then count those. I could do a join. All right. So sometimes when I'm doing this, it helps me a little bit to look at the tables in SQL and kind of think to myself how I would do this. Okay. All right. So I want all these, select all from users, and then where department ID equals on a 1 and it's active equals 1, and what else do I want from them? User role ID. Oh, phone. All right, and then what else did I want here? Escalation rule ID, their user role ID is equal to whatever. All right, and then what I want to do. All right, now you need to bring in the other. Do you need to join the ticket users? I'll call them TU on, and then what does ticket users have? Has a user ID. I can join on that. So I can do ticket user user ID is equal to, okay, so I can join them. Or are you angry? Incorrect statistic join. What? Blink. That does not work, right? Invalid column name user ID. Oh, it's just called ID. It's just called ID. Okay, join comes first. Okay. And then user is active. Okay. This is a valid query. All right. And so I joined the ticket users and I can group them. What do I want to do? I have to group them by user ID. And then I can get the average of their, not the average, I can get their count group by select. Group by user ID. Because each row that they have in the ticket users table is a ticket that's been assigned to them. This is rough because I just realized that the status of the ticket, like I don't want to include closed tickets. So let me look at the ticket users. I may have to join the tickets too. So take a ticket ID on ticket user dot equals. Okay, so we'll bring in the tickets table, and then we'll make sure this is for users. Yeah, I tend before I do this stuff in code, I usually like to do it in SQL first to make sure it's like actually like works and see if I understand it. So now basically just leave it like this for right now. All right, I bring in the ticket users and the tickets. And so I might have to do this in a couple queries then. I don't know if I can do this all in one because what I'm basically saying is I want to take the ticket users and group them so that I can count how many tickets they have that are not in this, that are of these statuses. So the status for an in progress ticket. Where's my enums? That's my enums. All right. In progress or escalated. So this is 1 and this is 2. So where this I don't think you can have multiple where clauses. It doesn't make any sense. And t dot status in 1 or 2. So I can filter out only tickets that are in those specific statuses. I can group by user ID and get a count as ticket count. I need to alias this. Is this SQL? All right. You. Oh, because yeah, I meant tu dot user ID because I had to. It has to be inside the aggregate. All right, so that looks to me like what I want. So to join the ticket users, I have to join the tickets, and then I filter out by the department, and then I make sure that it's correct status, and whoever has the least amount of tickets will get it. If it's a tie, just randomize the sucker. I don't care who gets it. Okay, so again, this is just like this is literally like what I do on my job. So I just wanted to I wanted to show you unvarnished coding. A lot of times with these coding videos, you don't, how do I put this? You don't get what the real stuff looks like. It's always like what people prepare. Like I do coding videos too, just to let you know, like I do them all the time, and it's like, okay, cool, but oh geez, that was very loud. Um So a lot of times with coding videos, you practice stuff, right? And you edit out all the bloopers and everything. Well, this is what coding actually looks like. Okay, so I think that this should do it with if inputting a role ID and the proper department ID. So how can we transfer this to here? All right. So I've got that part. I could write this differently. I could do this. What is it from? Well, I haven't done it this way in a long time. There is the query syntax for link. Let me actually look it up real quick. Forgot what these are called. Like there's one where it starts with from user in appdb context dot users. Okay, yeah. I remember now. All right, so from user in X, it doesn't like this. Oh, I can't call this. To ticket user. All right, obviously you can't use the same variable, Jonathan. So from users join you do a join. So now you can use a join syntax. I'm pretty sure you can. I like that this one is more like SQL. Okay, it's called method syntax. Is that what it's called? Join. Okay, join ticket users. Ticket users in. There we go. On there, I remember now. Okay, join ticket users in AppDB context. Ticket users on. It has to be which one first? The top one first. So user.id equals. Spell the word equals. Ticket user. Cool. And then join ticket in on that's the ticket user dot on ticket users dot ticket ID equals tickets dot ID, right? Double checking. I started with users. I brought in the ticket users table where the user ID of the ticket user matches the user ID, correct? Then I bring in the tickets table where the ticket ID of the ticket matches the ticket ID of the ticket user. Yeah. You're preaching to the choir, man. I forgot. Like, I like this because it's SQL, but the problem is I forget this join in thing. Like, I forget that every single freaking time. Like, why is there? I get why there's in here after the fact, but my brain never actually like remembers that. Like, you're supposed to put in there. That's the whole problem. Okay, so I did that. I got my joins, and now I can do my where clause, right? We can do a where clause. Yes, we can. And I need department and active. So where user dot is active, and what else I want? I want the department ID. And the role of the user is equal to the escalation rule ID, right? Oh, it's not the rule escalation role. It should be role. I don't like that. I know I'm a stickler for naming things, but I need the name to like make sense to me. Oh no, I'm still going, bro. Like this, we're doing. This is the I did the I worked through in SQL what I would actually do to get this information. So basically, what I'm saying is there's a users table, there's a ticket users table, and then there's a ticket table. And I'm saying, okay, cool. Like I would like to know which user has the least amount of tickets assigned to them, who's in this department and in this role. And then the tickets that are assigned to them have to be in status 1 or 2 for me to count them. So yeah. Making life hard on myself, but whatever. All right, so I did the where clause and then group by. Is it group by one word? Link query method syntax group by. It's group user by. Okay, how is anyone supposed to know that? Group it by its user ID. How's anyone supposed to just know that you're supposed to yeah, it's a bit more complex, yeah. Like, how is anyone supposed to know you're supposed to split it up like that? All right, and then I group them by their ID, and then I order them by their ticket count, right? Okay, cool. And I order them. Order. Why are you angry with me? Oh, into what the hell? Okay, I'm supposed. Okay, that's just random to me. All right. Yeah, you're supposed to group them into something else. You're supposed to like. I don't. That like what? So okay, an order by. What the hell was I ordering them by again? The ticket count. So how am I gonna do that? How the hell am I gonna do that? Let me look that part up. Because frankly speaking, I do not know. Um, offhand. No, it's not projection. I think it just has to like save the group in something. Oh, okay. Okay. I think this might do it. Okay, order by I'm close. Grouped dot count, and then I can select and make this an anonymous object and say the user ID equals the grouped dot key. All right, cool. That's not a method. And then ticket count is equal to grouped dot count. Oh my god. Ew. Ew. But we did it. We got there. All right. So I can group them by user ID and get their ticket counts. And then I just want the first person. Can I do that? No, because it gives me what does it think this is? Oh, okay. It will give me an iQueryable. This will perform the actual query. I'll call this ticket user query. And I don't need a list of them. I just need the first one. Ew. Really? Oh, I did not know that. Okay, so what the comment, so what Mike's saying in comment is basically that by using count, I'm going like Entity Framework is going to draw all this the basically everything in the memory and then perform the calculation. And I don't want that. I really want SQL to do all the hard work for me. I may end up making a stored procedure for this. I think what I'll end up doing is I'll make a stored procedure and just like save it on the database and call it from here. And just make a model that gives me back what the stored procedure gives me. I think that's probably the best thing to do. I tend not to I don't like to I think like this is where I think Entity Framework kind of falls short. Like in places like this, even though I don't understand like it seems weird to me that it like would because it's like it's supposed to make stuff easy, and so it's been around a while. So surely they've dealt with like this is not a radical query in any way, shape, or form. So why can't it like do this in a clean way that's like memory safe? But oh well. I think what I'll do is I'll leave this here for right now, and then later on, I think what I'll do is I'll make a stored procedure that does this, and then I'll just call the stored procedure from here, and that will be what I want because then SQL can do all the crap for me. All right, so ticket user. So what does this give me? This gives me a user ID and a ticket count. Can I just grab the user though? Yeah, maybe can I just like select the user? I don't really want I don't care like what. Oh damn. What are you doing? I can't do that. The name used does not exist. Well, yes, it does. It's up here. Don't mess with me, Andy Framework. I guess. Oh, this is terrible. Oh well. This is, I don't know if I like this. It didn't give me the user straight away. It gave me this user ID has the least amount of tickets. Then I can get the ticket user. Oh, this is terrible. Um that could be null. So basically, what would that mean? That would mean that no one has tickets? No. When would this be null? So there's no use. There's going to be users, but nobody's misassigned a ticket. In which case, this would just not give us anything, or it should give us a user with the user escalation rule. It still would give a user because even if they didn't have any tickets, it'd be 0. Yes, one group per user. So there's always going to be at least so like even if you had a case like we know we're gonna have users because it's a business, they need to set that up. But like let's say like no one had a ticket. Like nobody. Like it's the first ticket anybody ever got. Okay, cool. At least their count would just be 0. And then yeah, I still get them. So this is like when would this be null? All right, I'm just gonna throw an exception. So throw new exception. Something horrible happened. Like something, or like sometimes like some exceptions should really in real life never ever happen. Um, sir, I want one thing. I don't want a list of things. I want one thing. I'm being explicit about that. Yes. It will be an empty list. I know, but I still want just one thing. I want to be expressive about that. But all right. All right. I have the devil on my shoulder, like talking. I'm not getting a list of things. I want the user who is in this department, who's in this specific role, who's active, who has the least amount of tickets assigned to them, so that I can assign them a ticket. So it should be one person. All right, fine, you're right. Maybe I'll do it till I'll make a list and just pick the first person from it. Because there could be like multiple people with like 0, in which case I don't care who gets it. So we can get rid of that. And so what we could do, who knows? All right, await DB context users find a sync. All right, I got the first user. All right. I got so this is the user group, right? It's the user group. So user group. Oh, I want to just do what I want to do. I'm not going to listen to Peanut Gallery because it should be one person. All right, cool. They're there. I found them. Further, I got their user, and then I can finally create a ticket user based on who the ticket should be assigned to. Ugh. I don't really know how to do a list. Okay. So uh no, I love the interjections. Like that's the kind of like I want to like should like also show people that like you can have two senior devs talking about something and it'd be like they don't agree on it. Also I could probably be doing all this work and this will fail. My test will fail. So we'll see what happens. All right, cool. Let's see what else we want to do here. Var ticket user is equal to new ticket user. Wait, do I not? What? Oh, so that's just probably just not included. Yeah, it's not using it. All right. And so what about the ticket user do I fill in? Oh, like yeah, I don't know how I don't know. I don't know anyone that writes working code like the first time. I've never even heard of such a thing. It doesn't exist. All right, I have the ticket ID. And that's from the ticket ID from the notification. Nice. And then I have the user ID because user to assign to, I have their ID. So if user to assign to equals null. All right, cool. Throw. I'll just say something horrible happened, and probably in code review this would be like thrown out, whatever, and the role should be what it's called role, right? There we go. It's called role. Like, why is this fighting me? It's support created on daytime UTC now is active is equal to true. And then what else we need? Oh yeah, the Java. I've been doing nothing but Java for like 2 years. I've been teaching some C sharp. It's been more Java than anything else. It's kind of like that's also half the reason why I'm doing this to get back into C sharp. All right. So create on is active. I guess created by would be this user's ID. Created created by yep. Cool. All right. And then we will Jesus. Thank you, IntelliSense. You're a doll. And then what do we do? Like, what do we return? Like, honestly, I don't think I needed to return anything. Eventually, something went wrong. Yeah, we're just going to not return anything because why would we? No one's waiting on this. Okay. Oh my God. Ugh. All right. This I'm going to turn to a stored. So I'll make a note, a to do item. To do. Make this a stored procedure. And call it from here. I don't like this. All right. So it's okay. So I have a ticket. Someone creates a ticket. Cool. Then the ticket gets created and saved. Lovely. We then calculate based on the priority and the severity of the ticket how like hair on fire we are that this ticket is in the queue. So like are we like moderately hair on fire or are we like nuclear meltdown? Okay. So cool. We figure out how badly does this ticket like matter? Okay, cool. So who should this ticket go to? Like when the ticket gets submitted, who is responsible for it? Do we send it to like the IT intern or does it go to the project manager? Like if it's really severe, it should skip the lower levels and go straight up to the head honcho. So I've got a ticket escalation rule with a threshold. So basically, I'm basically saying this person, this role in this department handles tickets at or above this threshold. And then we pick the engineer who is going to be responsible for that. And so the ticket escalation rules have to be made for each department to see who handles what. And also it's for like ticket type. So like not everybody handles the same kind of ticket. So like I have like IT support, HR requests, blah blah blah, product development. And so depending on every department can have its own chain or like group of people who like handle different ticket types. So this is to basically figure out like who should I give this ticket to once it's been created. And you would think that would be something very simple, but as you can see, it is not. All right, time to fail the test. Oh boy. All right, it failed. And then why did it fail? Escalation rule configuration error. Escalation rules for department with ID 1 have not been set up correctly. Love it. I got an error. All right, awesome. Right, let's debug. So this is where it failed. Hi, Khalid. How you doing? Yes, we are actually doing TDD. So I am building it's .NET C# for the backend, Angular for the front end, SQL for the database, and it is an IT ticketing application. So people putting in tickets for their stuff, and I've made it especially complicated. All right, so it's not just like you put a ticket in and then like that's it. I'm doing a workflow to where like you put a ticket in and then it figures out who should who should the ticket be assigned to based on like who's working at the department and like how severe is the ticket and all that kind of stuff. All right, so right now I'm doing TDD, test driven development. And so I wrote the test first, and now I'm trying to. I've gotten test failed, obviously, and so now I'm trying to figure out why this is happening. Is it because my setup steps are wrong? Okay, so I'm guessing that's probably the case. If I debug this, I'm guessing this is null or is it 0? Right? That's the no. So there is no role. All right, let me double check to make certain I put some stuff in here correctly. All right, so the department ID is 1. Cool. The threshold. I don't know what we got. I'm can we I want to double check what that is. So we'll stop debugging. We'll debug again. What is points? 1. Okay, that's correct. Ticket type is IT support. Okay, so I got nothing. That is a problem with my setup. All right. Department ID, ticket type, threshold. We saved both of them. Okay, let's add a little debug code, and I want to see what we get where we do var all rules equals await app db context dot ticket escalation rules dot to list a sync. I want to see what we get. So did I load them up correctly? Did I screw up there? No, there's 2. Oh, they're both department 3, that's why. How did I miss that? However did I miss that? Department ID. Oh, okay. So ouch. All right, where's the department? There's too much stuff in here. How the hell is this department ID 3? Try this again. Is that consistent? Yes, that's consistent. There aren't other departments in here, and when the test runs, it clears out the in-memory database, so there should be nothing there. Why would department be 3? All right, so make the test maybe not so brittle. All right, so we'll do that. All right, now we got it. So escalation role ID 4. Because I just put the wrong department ID in there. Okay, so escalation role ID equals 4, and then can I see? Okay. Uh, well, we'll just continue on. If it blows up, it blows up. All right. All right. This is where my exception, something horrible happened. All right. So, okay, that therefore means that this, I'm guessing, is bringing back nothing. Null. Okay, got it. All right. So this can be null. How the hell is this null? Hmm. I don't think it should be null, but it is. So, all right, let's look inside the database. All right, and then I want to see something. Because I'm wondering about something. All right, first off, I want to see the users and their role IDs. Oh, Jonathan, you forgot a wait. Come on now. All right, I know it's not named roles, but okay. Here is admin. Here is whatever White Walkers. Okay, his role ID is 3. Your user role ID is 5. Your user role ID is 4. Okay, so there is a person with a user role ID of 4. Because escalation role ID is also 4. So this should be good. Did I forget to make them active? Is that what is angry about? All right, this should, well, first off, this should be is active anyway. Is active, it's true. And then so are you. Oh god. This should be it should be an active ticket. And you are an active user. Unless I don't think did I do that in the base model? It should be true. I don't have to do all that crap. See, see, that's what am I doing? I don't need to do all that crap. I already put that there. If you don't put anything, it becomes true. So that's not it. Just double checking. Is active. Yeah, they're all as active. That's fine. Okay, so you have a user role ID of 4. Your department ID is 3. You are active. What's the problem? So that because that would basically mean that grouped, there's nothing in it. Oh, because there's no ticket users. That is blank. So therefore, this is blank as an inner join. If this is part is blank, then this part is also blank. So there's nothing. So therefore, this would be null because this query doesn't return anything because the other people have no. Do I need to do a left join then? Because I could have users, but not a corresponding ticket user. I'm thinking left join. Let me look up how to do that. Oh God. Okay. This is not going to be pretty. This is not going to be pretty. Oh God. As you folks can see, doing something you thought was simple. All right. If I want to do a left join, let me make some space here. Then I'm looking at the examples. All right. So first off, I can combine this into one thing and then do select new dot first or default. All right. Async. Okay, cool. I'm going to await this. And then I can get rid of all this crap. Okay. Secondly, from user blah blah blah, join blah 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 into. Okay, so join. Trying to understand this. All right, let's clean some of this up a bit so I can read this. There we go. That makes that a bit better. That's okay. It's already not pretty. It will never be pretty. So I'm going to take the ticket user in ticket users. I need to complete this. Come on to the next line. Okay. On this, and I need to use into. Okay. From default if empty. Ew. Can't they just have? Couldn't I just put the word left join? Why do I have to do all this crap? Like seriously, I had to put it. I had to put it into something. And then where user is active, department ID. I do need one more. Forgot the ticket part. We're not using include. I care if the ticket doesn't exist or the ticket.status is equal to in progress. Cool. I'm going to call this user group. And I'm going to get rid of you. And oh my God. Oh my God. It's terrible looking. Holy cow. All right. All right, let's try our tests. I don't believe you. I do not believe you. I want confirmation. I do not believe you. Uh, really? I don't believe it. I spent that was too painful. All right. Sansa Stark of Winterfell. Yeah, that's who it should go to. Right. And then they got the ticket, got the user, and there we go. All right. Well, we did it, folks. We freaking did it. All right. So, yeah, left join was necessary. All right, because if if a user doesn't have any like tickets assigned to them, then there wouldn't be anything in the ticket user's tape, like the ticket user's size. So it has to be a left join. Because I want all the users, even if they don't have a matching row, and ticket users, I still want all the users, even if there is no matching row in the tickets either. So that makes sense. And then I group them together and see who had the least amount of tickets. Though I'm still irked to see that like it was one, but did I give her a ticket? Location, department, user role, user. Yeah, I guess I did give her a ticket. That's correct. I forgot. All right, I did give her a ticket, so that does make sense. All right, and so therefore now when I have to do more testing. I don't want to do all that on cam, and man, this was supposed to be 2 hours. That took almost an hour to do. Oh, just to do that. But honestly, like cool. Like I got it. So I still need to test the edge cases. So for example, like what happens if like there's no escalation rules set up? Making sure like what happens if multiple people have the same number of tickets assigned to them? Does it like randomly give a person? Making sure people who are not above them are picked correctly. And then what other edge cases could there possibly be? I already covered that the ticket was somehow deleted before it got here for whatever reason. All right, escalation rules being set up, getting the right person, finding the right user. Don't know how this could happen if it was in here in the first place. And then creating the ticket user. Okay, so now when a ticket comes in, it doesn't have to necessarily go to the same person in the same department every time. It can skip up a level. It could skip the first person. So I guess I would need another test so that I know this isn't a false positive by having it where the ticket is escalated to the proper person. So I can do that. But we'll do that off camera. Maybe a bit later because I want to do some other stuff. I want to like do a variety of things on stream. But maybe we'll do that. I'm not sure. I'll think about it. Let me see what else there is to do. All right. So I can create a ticket. I did that. We can uh assign the ticket. The ticket gets assigned after it's created. It will test to see if it's done properly. I did also want to take a look at my state machine for tickets. So I started doing a state machine diagram to try to make certain, because also part of it. Yeah, that's yeah. I'm leaning towards having a default person. The thing is, that still has to be set up because again, my imaginary company has like offices around the world and multiple offices in the United States. So like, there has to be a default person. Like, if it goes to nobody, it goes to Bob, kind of thing. So still have to like, that person still has to be set up in the system because like, people come and go, so the department needs to be able to, like, whoever is in like setting things up has to be the person that says, okay, cool, like it's Bob. Part of me is also like thinking about how this software would actually be used by real people. And so I know for a fact that like people don't update people in a timely manner, especially in large corporations. And so, like, when we're setting, like, during the setup process, we'd have to be really insistent that there be a person that does it. But if they're like low on the totem pole, they're probably also have high turnover. And so it's gotta be easy to like set the default person. Probably I would set it to like, if I were like grand vizier of this company, like an IT, I would probably just have it like sent to me, like, and I could like route it to somebody. That also will let me know like where there's a hole in their setup, and I can go in and like fix it, and then it won't come to me anymore. All right, and so okay, so now we have my state machine, and I'm using a it's called Stateless, a library. I'm not. I don't know what a gate like. It's cool. Like, it was a shiny new toy for 5 seconds, and I started using it. And I'm like, I could just build my own state machine. I don't need a library to be a state machine. I could just like do the design pattern and make a state machine. So it's cool. Like, it does save you a little bit of work, question mark, but essentially the design pattern I'm using for tickets and for their status is a state machine, because I made this flow chart. You depending on this to ticket's current status, it can only transition to certain other states. So for example, an open ticket cannot be automatically escalated. Okay, because we have the initial, basically escalation kind of happens when the ticket's first created. If escalation is needed for like to get somebody higher, it does it automatically. So the ticket's not going to start off in the escalated state, it starts off in the open state. And so when the ticket's open, it can transition into in progress or resolve. It just can't skip over to on hold or escalate. And so I made a little like flow chart to showcase like the different state transitions that are allowed with the ticket and which direction they can go in. And so this is important because when we update a ticket, we have to make certain that it is a state transition that's allowed. That way, like, tickets don't end up in weird states because people just, do whatever the hell they wanted to do with them. And so I made this state machine. And one cool thing I learned is that initially I made the ticket status. I didn't think I could make it the setter private. The reason I wanted to make the setter private was I didn't want people willy-nilly changing the status of a ticket. I wanted them to use the state machine to tell them whether or not they could change the status of the ticket. And I thought because of ND framework, I couldn't make this private, but yes, you can. You 100% can. ND framework uses reflection. It doesn't need public getters and setters. It can use reflection and get the value through there. So I'm using this as the change status. So this is encapsulation basically, and say if you want to change the status of the ticket, you got to use this change status, and then it will tell you whether or not that transition is valid based on this chart I made. And I think this chart is good. My thought was tickets start off as open. They have a little bit of a review period to see if the ticket's BS or not. If the ticket's BS, we will promptly tell them it's resolved. So sorry, your ticket's BS. We've resolved it. We don't really know what you're asking us for and don't want to pry or anything. And so cool, we've resolved it. Great. Close it. Or yeah, your ticket's legit. It made sense. And we're gonna start work on it. Cool. Or it's in progress. It's in progress. Cool. We did the thing you asked us. We resolved it. Yep, you resolved it. Both sides agree that it's resolved. Great, the ticket's closed. Or it's in progress. We're doing our work, but there's a blocker, and we, I don't know, whatever, like a meteor hit the office, and so we're on hold. We can't really do anything with your ticket while we're in this holding pattern. But that doesn't mean it's like closed or anything. It just means we can't do anything. Okay, cool. Like the factory's open, or they stop. I think actually one time we had a project slow down because of a revolution. They're having a revolution, and so the factory couldn't open. But once the revolution's over, now it goes back from being on hold into in progress, and so we're working on it. Or you could escalate. I think the question I had was, once we escalate, can it be on hold? I think yes. But then when it's on hold after being escalated, it won't necessarily remember that. And doesn't even matter if it remembers that. Because once it's escalated, it's given to new people, right? Because the other people didn't have the necessary chops to work on it. So it gets to new people. And so when it goes back to being on hold from escalate, I think it goes back to being in progress. So I think that works. All right. And so this logic is going to be held inside of here, the ticket status state machine. And so that way, like, you're always working with that. So with that being said, what do we need to do next? We do need more tests. Let's think of more tests I need to do. All right. So I do have make a test so that when a user submits a ticket, it cannot be assigned to them. Okay, so that is another piece I need to work on. So edge cases. When you submit a ticket and a person is assigned to work on it, that person isn't you. It's somebody else. So if you put a ticket in your own department and you're like a ticket within your department doesn't get, like, it gets to somebody else besides you. Okie doke. And then another thing would be test to see if escalation rules for a department have not been set up. That's another test I need to write. What else do I need to write? What else would make sense for edge cases? Okay, test to make certain that higher severity tickets go higher up the chain. Okay, so in that case, like, I'll do another one of these, except it should skip Sansa and go straight to Jon Stark because he is king in the north. And then what else do I want to do? What else is there to be an edge case? So this is where I start, like, we're doing TDD, so I need to start thinking about, like, where everything goes wrong, and then what should I do about that? So I'm assuming we have users, right? And then the escalation rules are not set up properly. That will blow up in their face. So there should be a proper user. What else could go wrong? What else could go wrong? Okay, test if two users have same ticket count that they're not doubly assigned. All right, that would be another one. So if I have two users, they both have the same workload, the computer is just supposed to pick one of them and go with it, right? They have the same workload. And then test if two users have same workload, have different workload, but same role, that the one with less tickets gets picked. Woo, I got a lot of tests to write. Okay, that's like 5 just for proper assignment of a ticket. All right, and as you can see, I have quite a few already. That's just the setup step, actually. And I've got, like, the ticket handler tests, and I still need more of these to go from there. And then the ticket state tests, I need more of those. So this is a lot, but let's do it. That's what we're here for. I pretty much also figured that, like, a lot of the extra CRUD stuff I'll do off camera because it's boring. But, like, I do have the tickets controller that works. So you can do all the CRUD functions with it, activating and deactivating a ticket. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for update ticket. I haven't thought about that because that has like a state machine thing kind of going to it, and I guess we could work on that too, actually. So updating a ticket. So these are the ones I'm going to work on for assigning a ticket. Trying to think what I want to do next. Don't have too much time left. And uh state tests, mapper tests, assign users tests. Is there anything else that we should do with a ticket after it's been assigned to somebody? We should be able to escalate the ticket then. I need to find out who we should escalate the ticket to. All right. So um again, I'm kind of like showing like in my brain, I'm always thinking about like what more do I have to do to make sure I check off all my boxes. And so if I were like actually like on a job, I would make certain I like did every last one of these. In fact, why don't we test one of these out? We'll do the two different workloads. Public async task to ticket created, two users, different workload, user with less assigned. All right, I'm in the school of naming unit tests like setup and result so that like you kind of remember what they're about. And all right, so I think the first part is basically the same. I may put this into its own so this test is almost the same. The setup step is. I may take the setup step and put it into its own function to reduce redundancy actually. Because this isn't going to change. I grab the ticket, I check to make sure the ticket is the way it's supposed to be. The ticket has no users, and then the ticket is created, and then the users are assigned, and then I go grab the ticket and make sure the ticket hasn't been changed. In the process of having a ticket user assigned. And then in this case, I'll add one more person. Honestly, do I need a second test explicitly? Because I could just add one. Let me think about this. Because now that I'm doing this, now that I started, I could just add one more person that's at the same level as Sansa, and this test should still work. So I don't need to make another test. All right. So IT grunt, IT guru, HR noob. All right. So Jon Snow, Sansa, and then Arya. Employee 3 equals new user, and then we'll do Arya Stark. Faceless man. Email is equal to the faceless man, the faceless one at bravos.com. Phone number is whatever. All right. She works in the same department. She reports to the same person. Okay, and she has the same role. And so I can save her to the database. Now, all right, yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for hanging out. It's always good to talk to you. All right, so if that's the case, I gave the ticket to where the hell's the ticket? This all right. Cool. Ticket. This the ticket, and then the user should be all right. So all I have to do then is give Aria It says she's assigned to some other ticket. So I'll make another ticket. And then it's another ticket. I'll make it like Spanish. And it's got major. And yes, really, everything is on fire. All right. That's another ticket. Aria already has one ticket. And we will do ticket user. It's new ticket user. And then user ID is equal to, and then who's Aria? Employee 3. And what the hell else? Ticket ID is equal to Aria's ticket.id. All right, so, and then we will do context that add ticket user and await context that save changes async. So Aria will have one ticket. And so essentially what should happen is that Sansa has 0 and Aria has 1. And therefore, even though they do the same thing, Aria should not be assigned the ticket and Sansa should. So this test should still be fine. Let's figure that. Let's see if it is. Moment of truth. Nope. Aha. All right, was Aria. All right, let's take a look. See? Let's go to the handler. I think it's my order by threshold. So, oh god. Let's see what happens when we put descending. User ID 5, ticket count 1. All right, let's see who the hell that is. So are you telling me that it doesn't matter if I put ascending or like it's always going to be her? Is that what you're telling me? All right, glad I did this. All right, so it just gave me Aria. I'm just playing around with it at the moment just to see maybe it gives me like multiple ones. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's gonna be a build error. Where's my build error? Probably here. No. Oh, here's back a list, and then let's do 0. That's wrong, but whatever. We're gonna just testing things out here. They both have a ticket? I didn't assign what's her face a ticket, did I? Department. Okay, location, department, role, user. Maybe the count is different. I want to do order group by dot count. Oh, wait a second. I think I know what count means. Okay, it's the oh, that's my mistake. That's my mistake. I think I need to redo this. I think I need to check the ticket users table. I can bring in the tickets, but I do need the user because it has to roll. I do need all three. This is not quite it. All right. Well, first I need to go back to first or default async. I don't need to just do that. It's not the fact that it's a list. It's the fact that they each have one row. It's not showing them by how many. All right. I think it's so if it's left join, I'm always going to get both of them, either they have a ticket or not. And so I'm not sure. All right. I think this part is the problem. Now that I'm thinking about it. All right. So I really don't. Okay. So I want to group. And then I'm looking online at the example. So I want to group the user and actually the ticket because it's not just the user. I need to count their tickets by user.id into group. That part's okay. And then I can order by group.count x lambda x dot ticket because it's from here. Okay, does not equal null. And then I can do this. I have to bring this over down into here. I actually don't need the solution explorer right now. Go away. All right, so I can read this. All right, so I am grouping. Let's try it out. Let's see what happens. Okay, who is this? Still think that's Aria, right? Still is. Incorrect. It should be Sansa. Right, I don't think that will matter, but Hmm. All right. Well, we're gonna end the stream here. Got I allotted 2 hours for it. I will think on this a bit. I think my query has a problem to it with probably with left joining the tickets. I'm trying to count how many tickets they have. So I thought I could by the user ID and then take the number of tickets they have assigned to them and count them. So I just have to work that query out a bit more. Uh, well, I got close to what I wanted to do. So we're almost there. But I may also just make this into a stored procedure at the end of the day and not have all this code because this becomes quite difficult to understand after a certain point. Well, if you watch this the stream and hope you learned something, all right? This is what dev work actually looks like. I do this unrehearsed to make certain that it is realistic as it can be. So if you want to see what actual dev work looks like, this is what it looks like. Okay, it is sometimes throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what happens, but um you could really think through something and get only to a certain point. I may not stream every Tuesday. I might start streaming on Sundays instead. I do have a cool announcement. So again, I'm starting a Discord server for developers to help them network, do coding problems, get help with their projects, all sorts of stuff. And I'm also going to be starting a project where I invite people who are like boot camp grads or people who are self study or people who want to like beef up their portfolio, and we're going to get in a group and we're going to meet and we're going to build a production style application, something as close to a real world application as we can get in terms of complexity, in terms of technology used. And that way, it gives people stuff that they just didn't learn in their boot camp or didn't have time to, so it's a way to like continue personal and professional development. So if that sounds cool to you, leave a comment in the bottom section. I'll get you more information about it. Other than that, it was a fun stream. I will sit here and figure out what the heck I should do with this because my query is off and I think it's because of my second left join, but I will figure that out. In any case, thanks for watching. And then again, I'll be streaming next week and have a good evening.